Okay, so I'm going to show you a video about how to make this line of best fit. I think you've even done it in science, but we'll go through it. So I'm going to plot these points, but first I need some grid paper. And so your teacher will give you some grid paper. I'll go way up here. But I had to decide on my grid paper, kind of, and I'm going to fold mine a little bit so I can fit everything in the video. I had to decide, what side I was going to make the height. So I picked that for the x-axis, and one side I was going to make the arm span. And I also had to decide the scale that I was going to set out. So I looked along and I thought, in my data, it went from 129 up to 134 up to 168 for the height. So I started at 100 and I counted along 10 and I got up to 170. And then same on this side, I started at 100 and I went up to 160 so that I could fit all my data points in. So the first thing we have to do is kind of hard is to plot these points. So the first point I can see on here is 134, 129. So I'm going to go to 130, 1, 2, 3, 4, 134, and I'm going to go up to 129, and it's kind of hard. Maybe you use a ruler, but these lines are very little, but I'm going to plot that point really carefully, and that's the point, the first point, 129, and then I'll do 138, 134, so I can kind of just go over. I know I'm at 134, 35, 36, 37, 38, and up to 134, 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe if you use a ruler or a piece of paper, sometimes it's easier to plot these points. And I'm going to pause right now and get these points plotted. Okay, so hopefully you plotted some points, and I've gone along and I've plotted all the points here. I know it's a bit glary, but hopefully you can see the points. And then I want to try to do a line of best fit, pretty neatly if I can. And I want to make sure I kind of include this point because in my data, I was looking for this missing data here. And so I don't want this to be totally out of the blue. In other words, I don't want to go, oh, this is my line of best fit, and this point here is way off the mark. So I'm going to try to include that point. And I want to try to get so that kind of half the points are above and half the points are below. So I'm going to just maybe draw as close as I can, something like that. Oops, didn't hold my ruler down very well. And I'll go back and I'll look and I'll go, maybe there's more above, but I'm happy with my line. I don't think it looks too bad. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think it's pretty good. Sorry about that little dilly there, but I think I put a pretty good line down. You can check with your friends and make sure you've done the right thing. So this point up here has one, I'm going to maybe use a pen or a darker pencil so you can see, is 168, comma 158, sorry. So that's that point, the last one I had. And then there's maybe another point that I've gone through here I can see. And that point looks like, if I just put my ruler there, I'll be able to see better. It's right here. So that's 141, comma, and then over here, I'm picking any point that I go through. It's right there. So that's 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 136. Okay, and I remember that I could find the gradient of a line. Remember the line's equation, and that's what I'm trying to find. And I probably could do it on a better piece of paper, maybe even this piece of paper, is y equals, gosh, I'm being silly, is y equals mx plus c. And to find the m, I use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, that's my m formula. And so I can see that my y2 minus y1, 168, comma 158 was that point. And then my x1 was 141, comma 136. So I'm going to put in 158 minus 136, y2 minus y1, and then 168 minus 141. So it looks like that's 22, I think that's right, over, and then when I subtract that I get 27. And I'm just going to grab my calculator so I can do kind of a decimal approximation. And I'm going to type in 22 divided by 27, and I got on my calculator 0.815. I think that's really close. Even 0.81 or 82 is fine. And then I use my equation, this, and I go y equals 0.815 times x plus c. And I pick either one of my points. I'm going to pick this one. This is the x, this is the y. And I'm going to put the y in and the x in. And I'm going to solve for the c, because I need to find the m and the c to write an equation. And so I'm just going to grab my calculator for a second. And I get 136 equals 114.9 plus c. And so c is equal to, if I subtract off 114.9 from both sides, I get 136 minus 114.9, and I get 21.1. Okay, so I can write my equation. It's y equals 0.815x plus 21.1. That looks pretty good.